This is the Brotherhood. Real talk, real growth, real connections for anyone ready to own their truth and heal their wounds. Whether you identify as a man, woman, or somewhere in between, this is a space to get honest, be vulnerable, and build strength together. Welcome back to the Brotherhood Podcast. I'm your host, Raul Peguero, and today's episode is special because the person that I have here today, I didn't meet him through business. I didn't meet him through podcasting. This is actually our first time on the podcast. And I actually met him on the softball field, playing softball a few years ago. Probably, 10, 11, 12 years ago, maybe longer than that. And it was through our boy, Jeffrey. I met him through Jeffrey. I played the outfield. I believe he played first base, if I'm not mistaken. Right? He was first base, yeah. And we started a team, eventually became a brotherhood, right? We came from similar roots, Dominican households, similar values, but different neighborhoods. I grew up in the Bronx, and my boy, who I'm not going to say his name yet, grew up in Harlem. Different blocks, same culture, same work ethic, and not a lot of, and a lot of similar lessons in life, right? Life took us in different paths, but look how it has directed us. I stood connected to my brother through Herbalife, right? And then from there, relationship just built even more to what we have now, right? Recently, I came across a video that he made, and it stuck with me because he said, our parents taught us how to survive, or our parents taught us, how to survive. And for a lot of us, trying to learn how to actually live, right? Especially for Dominicans, right? For us, it's like the Hispanic, Latinos in general, right? That line sparked today's conversation because I think so many of us find ourselves caught between where we came from and where we're trying to go, between culture and real life, between what we inherited and what we're still learning, between honoring our parents and becoming our own men. So today we're talking about growing up between two worlds, what we've had unlearned, what we're still learning, and what we hope to pass to the next generation. Join me today with my brother, Manny Peña. Welcome to the Brotherhood Podcast. It is an honor to have you here, man. I'm excited. I know this is like your first time doing being a guest on a podcast, but this is great. This is definitely great practice because you have your own. So introduce yourself. Let people know a little bit about yourself and what you got going on these days in life.
Emmanuel Peña, for those that don't know. Everyone calls me Manny, though. I feel like the only time they use Emmanuel is when I'm legally getting in trouble. So.
Yep. For me, it's like Raulín instead of Raul.
Yeah, bro. What I'm up to, honestly, the podcast, it's really about me communicating with my community.
Okay.
And honestly, if I could reach other people, amen. Like I'll accept it. I'll take the responsibility. But I feel like it's all about juggling what it is to be a first generation, for me, Dominican American, of course.
Right.
But for everybody, anybody and everybody that's a first generation American, we have so much to talk about and so much to get through and so many things to balance.
Right.
And I think that's what the gist of the podcast is. And I'm just opening up the air, the space, whatever you want to label it, for us to have that open dialogue about anything and everything, whether it be politics, whether it be sports, whether it be finances, which is huge, or just juggling, what it's like to have, parents abroad for some of us. Like recently, my mom, she officially retired to DR.
Okay.
But she's still traveling back and forth. So she does the fall and winter in Dominican Republic. And then she she comes to New York for the warmer times, which seem to be getting shorter and shorter every year.
Right. From what I've heard, it has.
100%. So
okay,
that's where I'm at right now. It's crazy because, like you said, it's a small world. We started on the softball field together. The health part together, and now look at us both in the podcast world together.
Right. It's amazing how it's amazing how you can connect or keep that connection with someone and then actually fall into like the same alignment of what you do, right? Because for me
100%.
too, I started the podcast because I wanted to voice certain things that I have experienced in my life, especially for me, where I have, episodes that I speak about this. Back in 2023, my wife had asked for a divorce and a separation, and that was like really tough for me. So I remember that when I started doing, my inner work on my own, and focusing on me, one of the things that has always come up is like, use your voice. It's a gift. But I ignored it for some time until I moved into this place, July of 2025, and I started the Brotherhood Podcast. But it took like work behind like what's going to be the name, how it's going to look, and this and this and that. So here we are today, and I it's usually men that I interview and have as guests, not interview but have as guests. And the things that I talk about, obviously I can't put myself in women's shoes because I'm not a woman, so I speak
Right.
from experience of a man, right?
Right.
With respect towards the woman as well. And but funny enough, I have a lot of women listeners, probably more than men. Right?
Interesting.
We're in a space now where men are still not showing vulnerability. They're still hiding from, they're still hiding from who they truly are because society has made us be a certain way, right? Like we're gonna get into it. For example, growing up in a Dominican household with a strict dad, you can't cry. Like men don't do that shit. You get what I'm saying? So imagine the masses of men out there that can't even show vulnerability, right? Can't even show emotion, right? And then you also have, in some cases, when a man is showing that, then their partner doesn't support it because that's not manly. You get what I'm saying? So relationships are changing around the world. Things are being seen differently. And at this point, from what I'm learning is, you gotta be the man has to know himself, and so does the woman, to become as one. Because if you don't, it's just never going to be, at some point it's just not going to be aligned to what whoever wants, preference, whatever, etc. Right? So let's get right into it now. I'm grateful for this platform. I'm grateful to have grown the cojones, the courage to actually speak, right? And the same for you, right? Because you're actually putting yourself out there as well. So let's get right into it, right? So Manny, take me back to the softball days, bro. What do you remember about that time in life, man?
Honestly, before I get into that, bro, I just have to say this. I have to give you credit, man. You did it before. You did it before me, and you're 100% correct, man.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
It even for me to get to a point where I wanted to release or publish or get to the point where now I have a podcast, the amount of time that I stopped myself, like I cannot, I have to admit it, like I was my greatest enemy. I overthought it. I compared myself to other people.
It happens, bro.
I thought that I needed to like be something else that I wasn't. And honestly, like and I think a lot of people around my community, because they were like, bro, like it's so easy to talk to you, man.
Yeah.
Like, and you're willing to have all these conversations, behind closed doors or on a phone or whatever. But for me to take the courage, I mean, first you to take the courage and then now me, like I think it's easier for us to take on the machismo way because you don't have to share all of that. And the people that you do share with is seldom. Like it's a handful of people, you know what I'm saying? And half the time they're telling us what we want to hear.
Right.
Exactly.
So, bro, not what you want to hear.
100%.
Exactly.
So thank you so much for opening up the dialogue and for taking, the courage to do it. And bro,
thank you, bro.
And I'm going to give myself some credit too, because the conversations,
give it to yourself, man, for sure.
The conversations that my first episode, bro, is literally about politics. Like how rougher can it get? Like how it's so staticky, and people have gotten to a point where we can't even have that conversation anymore.
Right.
So I just want to take a moment and give you your flowers, man. Like,
thank you, man. I appreciate you.
It means a lot.
And I'll give you your flowers as well before you answer the question. One thing I'll tell you, bro, don't try to be somebody you're not. Like you're using this platform to use your gift, which is your voice. Don't try to compare yourself to someone else doing something else, and let's say that person is successful in whatever they're doing, because at the end of the day, you're going to attract the people that you're meant to attract. So the people that are meant to hear you, that's all that matters. But you got to put it out there.
Right.
Like you said, we compare, we have fears, we doubt, we become our worst enemies,
and literally,
right, and it comes from our upbringings, right? If you think about it, those fears, those doubts come from how we were raised, which we'll get into, but you get what I'm trying to say. But just go for it, man. Go for it and be your authentic self. Don't try to dim your light because you feel, man, don't try to be perfect either. That's another thing. Don't try to be perfect. People love authenticity. People love seeing the behind the scenes or the fucks and the shit. Oh man, I didn't mean to say that. You get what I'm saying? Like I'm honest with people.
Mm-hmm.
This is not like certain things come up that are just being said, but I create an outline with my ChatGPT to stay structured. But a lot of times I'm not even using it anymore.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So just be you, man. Be you, and I give you your flowers as well for actually taking the courage to take that step and use your voice and use this platform.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. And sorry, I didn't mean to derail.
Nah, you good. Don't worry about it, bro. You good. So,
but softball,
to the question,
man.
Yeah.
I mean, look, softball. Like, the thing is that my father. It started from my father, 100%. You know, my father growing up, he played baseball. He went semi-pro, but you know, in my mind, I really wanted to go pro. Like for me, and unfortunately, but fortunately, because of my upbringing, I've become who I am.
Right.
My mom put the priority in church.
Okay.
So unfortunately, but fortunately, I grew up as a Seventh-day Adventist. And as you know, most leagues or little leagues or serious leagues, they usually run on Saturday.
Right.
So I was able to practice with teams. I was able to seldomly play on Sundays, which wasn't often. And it ended up hindering me. And, you know, the culture, the Dominican culture, and me trying to be, you know, the best baseball player that I could. So to get credit from my dad, make him proud, but also, you know, for the community aspect of it, that's really why softball was so like prominent in my life as a hobby and as a sport.
Okay.
So it was definitely layered, but I would say that's literally why softball was such a big part of me.
Okay. Same here. My father has a baseball background. My father actually played for minor leagues of Pittsburgh.
Nice.
And you know, the Dominican way, uno se emborracha, you go party, you whatever. I don't judge my dad at all. But I also, being the firstborn, you know, your pops sees you as that legacy. Like I was this close, but now I got to put it on you. Now the pressure's on you, right?
Oh my goodness.
Baseball was my first love. I played this since I was little, man. I was little. And I played Jimmy Cafe, Junior Pony, Tolentino, and Dykeman. Like, I played all those places. And obviously, you get a little bit older, you don't want to play baseball no more, so you have softball, right? My pops played softball. You remember my father played with us when he was pitching and stuff. And my father played softball till he was like 55, 56. So he played a long time.
Right.
And for me, I feel like as I got older, the pressure that I had to become a pro, I felt out of love of baseball and integrated to basketball. And I will never forget because I played basketball in high school. I will never forget when I got the award for sportsmanship in basketball. My father's face was like disappointed because the whole time he thought I was playing baseball. And I have a childhood wound when it comes to that. And I'm discovering it now. It has to do with sort of self-worth, right? And it's been a lesson throughout my life when it comes to that. If you listen to, like, I dropped a few videos today about relationships and how people lose themselves in them and they're looking for validation, external validation. I dealt with that for a long time, and it came from that point. And today was literally like, I had like an ego death today, and it was like literally an epiphany. Like, this came from the day my father saw me get a trophy for basketball, and he was disappointed because it wasn't baseball. But anyways,
That's interesting.
but anyways, baseball is the love. That was the first love, right? And like you wanted to make your dad proud. You wanted to continue on that legacy. You wanted to become a pro. I wanted to become a pro because I fell in love with baseball, but I always had this thing of wanting to take care of my family and wanting to give back to kids, right? I currently live in the Dominican Republic, and I go jogging around the neighborhoods, man, and I just be like, bro, yo sé que un día de esto, I tell myself, and I could get emotional. I say, un día de esto, I'm going to have so much wealth. I'm telling you, I'm going to buy these kids clothes. I'm going to buy them sneakers. I'm going to buy them everything and just go to the little pueblecito and give it all away. Because that is something that I've always wanted in pursuing to become a professional baseball player and even basketball. That's never left. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
And obviously, I may have the opportunity to do things here and there, which I have. I give sneakers away. I've given clothes away. Now that we're moving, we're most likely going to give a lot of stuff away. Right. But I know that I can do much more. And when that time comes, I know that I am. That's never going to change. Right. So, yeah.
That's interesting because for me, just to piggy off of that, I think the outlook that I had towards it was a little bit different because it was the same. It's similar, but it was a little bit different because I was rooted out of like church and Christianity. Mm-hmm. It was the same for me. Like, oh, if I go to the big leagues, but for me, like the core of it was to be Christ-like. You get what I'm saying? Like, what would Jesus do? The type mm-hmm. of model, and it would have been the same. It would have been, I'm the first one to make it. What comes with the legacy of that, and then how I could honor my parents. So mm-hmm. in my mind, and I still have this, deep down inside, I would like to, put up either an academy or some type of sports related foundation or academy under my dad's name, just to honor him that way. And then, potentially something for my parents as well, for my mom. My mom would probably be more, church-based foundation. But bro, look, yes, when I was younger, I did have a little bit of resentment towards that because, the trying to balance the church life and then having, a secular life, which would have been considered the baseball career path of it. It was literally impossible to balance the two. You would have to choose one. And it got to a point where my mom was like, you know what? It's God first over everything. And that's how we came to that solution. So in the beginning, it was definitely tough. It was hard for me to comprehend as a child. But as I've gotten older, everybody's path is different. So of course, I appreciate it.
I'll give you my 2 cents on that because I'm not a religious person.
Right.
I also don't have anything against people that are religious either. Because there are some people that are religious that are extremists. And then you have people that are religious and they respect everybody's point of view. Right.
Right.
So one of the things that I've learned in my journey is that, for example, obviously, you may know this now, and obviously your mom has her own upbringings and her own points of views and her own ways of seeing things, right? It could have been easily seen as your talent for baseball was God-given. You get what I'm saying? Like, you didn't have to choose. But obviously, back then, you didn't know those things. Like, if Manny can go back knowing what he knows now, you would have probably fought your mom, not fought her, but like, Mom, I can do this. God gave me these gifts.
Right.
God wants me to play baseball.
Right.
I can still honor God and play baseball, which is honoring myself. Because at the end of the day, what you got to understand that honoring yourself is godly. That's what God will want you to do, is honor yourself, to choose you. So I have a family. I have kids, right? And for me, if I'm not doing good, nobody's doing good. So right. I have to choose me. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's what God would want for me, to choose me, to work on myself, to be happy so that everyone else could as well. So think of, like, just hearing you say that, with what you know now, it would have been different, because I've heard stories of kids who grew up in that same religious household where the parents think going after something like that, you're gonna get lost, you're gonna make money, money's evil, y esto y lo otro. And it's like, it doesn't have to be like that. God gave me these talents for that reason, to showcase it, to inspire, to be a role model. Now you have free will to do whatever you want. That's the beauty. So you got to know that if your intention comes from a good place, regardless of what you do, your intention was good always. It was never to hurt anybody. So, bro, I could go deep in this stuff, but anyways, let's just go. Let's get to the next question, right? So, when you think about how we first connected through the group of guys and softball, right? What stood out to you about that environment, that brotherhood environment?
I mean, I think it's something that's always stuck with me growing up. Even though I grew up in a very religious household, I've never been a type of person where I would prejudge anyone. You know what I'm saying? I think what made it beautiful is that we all came from different backgrounds, even though we had a lot of similarities, you know, culturally, being Dominican or Puerto Rican, whatever it may be. We all came from different backgrounds, different upbringings, and we could all come together and just be brothers under sports. Like, it was
right. That's what the beauty of sports, man.
I love that, and that's why I'm such an advocate of like keeping politics and I mean, not the religious part, but I could see even that to a certain limit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, the love of the sport unites us as a community, no matter your background. You know what I'm saying?
For sure, 100%.
For me, that was the biggest thing that stood out. It was that even though throughout all of our similarities, but also our differences, we can unite for one sports. Common goal through sports. You know what I'm saying?
I love sports for that reason. I've growing up, obviously knowing the things that I know now through my experiences. And I say this with no judgment, obviously, because at the end of the day, everybody is entitled to do whatever the F they want. It doesn't matter.
Right.
Sports is one of the things that unite people. Politics is also one of the things that unites people. Religion is one of the things that also unites people. But if you look at the core of it, it's all been set up to actually bring people apart, right? For example, religion can create separation in a lot of ways. Politics can create a separation in a lot of ways. Sports can create separation in a lot of ways, right? Here's why. Teams, if you think about it, I'm a Yankee fan, but I would never put my life on the line just because somebody's talking about the Yankees. There's fans like that. So if you look at it, everything has been created in the system to try to keep us apart, right? Although we love the sport. Right. See, it's a different perspective. I'm going deep, right? But we don't see that if you're not using a different lens, an open mind of the world that you live in. We grew up loving sports. We grew up like we forget about everything when we play sports. Everything. Nothing is on our mind but winning the game as a team. That's the common goal. We win the game. We have fun. That's it. Right? But then those same people you play the game with can be fans of another team, and now you arguing about it. Right? And the same thing with religion. All the religions that they are, a lot of them feel some sort of way about this religion and this religion and this religion. And then when you look at politics, you got the same thing. Republicans, Democratic, Independent, and liberals, and this and that. So everything that you see has also been built as a system to keep people separated as well. But that is a topic for another day. So
that's an interesting take for sure.
I'm telling you, bro, if you can forget for a second how you grew up, knowing what you knew. You said it yourself, unlearning what you knew growing up. When you can come from a perspective of being open-minded, you see the world totally different, bro. You don't see the world anymore like it used to be. I grew up in a religious household as well. My mom is Christian, right? And I've had conversations with my mom that she can't explain certain things to me because of her religious beliefs. And I love my mom and I respect my mom. No disrespect at all, no judgment at all. right?
Right. Right.
I have friends who are super religious. You know, one of them, super religious, and we just have different point of views. But I can tell you that I respect them. My point of view doesn't mean, for example, Raul's point of view of life doesn't mean Manny lives his wrong because he lives it different, and vice versa. See, that's how we should live. The thing is that labels want us to see us each other as what you're doing is wrong. You shouldn't live like that because you're not living like me. And it's like, no, I live the way I live and I respect the way you live. Because I live this way does not mean you live the wrong way. You live the way you want to. Right. So it's interesting. I saw a video the other day where this guy was like, he had like an argument with a cousin who's super religious. And the cousin is telling him, if you don't live with Jesus Christ being your Lord and Savior, you're going to hell. And he's like, so let me go to hell. Right. He told her that. And she's like, whoa, like, what you mean? You want to, like, what? You want to go to the, and it's like, the point was like, let me live the life I want to live. You live the life you want to live. Why can't we just leave it like that? But that's the thing. Again, these labels, these things have all been created to keep us separate. Even in family, people argue because of religion. People argue because of politics. People argue because of sports. And I don't really want to throw sports in there because at the end of the day, sports is a little different, but still, it's still the same thing, right? In family, you have people that don't talk to each other for 20 years because one of them is Christian and one of them is Baptist.
That's crazy.
It's ridiculous, bro. Think about it. It's your family member. Moms and kids not talking to each other because of that. Dads and cousins and brothers and uncles not talking to each other because of that. It's crazy. The same thing with politics. Anyways. Okay, so, Manny, growing up in Harlem in the Dominican household, what stands out most about your upbringings?
That's a good question, man. You know, personally, I would say that learning to live in humility was really big.
Okay.
Not being materialistic was huge in my household. And it always comes back to the Christian thing, you know, like the having God first, and just living within my means. It definitely working as a unit, like a family unit, was huge. And also honoring and respecting each other in the hierarchy of what my household was. That was huge in my upbringing.
Right. Besando la mano every single morning.
100%.
Si on ma, si on pa. If you don't do that, yo no soy tu papá. That was my response. Like even to my cousin, if you didn't say si un tío, my dad was like, yo no soy el tío tuyo entonces.
Right.
But yeah, I get it, bro. You know, for me in the Dominican households in the Bronx was like very rigid in patriotic ways, right? The patriarch, right? If you look at it, we no longer live in those times where the woman is the one at home cooking, cleaning, watching the kids, and the man is at home, is out the one, you know, working, bringing in the money, etc., etc., etc. Now it's different. We don't live in those times, but that's what I can remember my upbringings, where you went to school, you graduated, you got a good job. That good job gets you the white picket fence, the house, the kids, the wife, right? My life was completely different because I've never, for some reason, I questioned everything since I was young, right? And it led for me to be even deeper and rooted into what I believe now. Then I met my wife and she was even more than that. And my life expanded even more after that, right? So for me to see the traditional way of a household, I've carried that. But then I also learned it doesn't have to be that way. Why can a woman not be the one that's out working and supporting and protecting? Why the man can be the one at home cooking, raising the kids, etc.? So we grow up to thinking that's how it should be, but it doesn't. We don't have to play the roles we saw growing up. It can be switched around. It doesn't matter, right? At the end of the day, relationships should be about a partnership, a friendship. Think of it like that, right? You know what you do. You know what you do. You come together. You guys have things that you guys take care of, and that's it, right? It's not like I can't change a diaper because I'm not the mom. right? That's how we grew up.
Right.
No,
That's very machista.
you get what I'm saying? I can't be the one that bathes the kid because that's, the mom is supposed to be doing that, not me. No, all I do is go out, work, and bring money. That's it. When I get home, I put my feet up, my food better be ready, and I'm going to sleep.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? That's not the times we live in, and I've never agreed with it being like that. Never.
Oh yeah, I mean, personally, I do. I'm more traditional for sure, 100%. I and don't get me wrong. I'm not a dictator. Like, I don't believe in the dictatorship that comes out of the Dominican culture, like where the man just like he dictates everything. But I definitely do believe in a little bit of the traditional roles, which is interesting, because inherently there's certain traits of women that we just don't have. And for me, there's certain intangible things that women can give to the community or to your family that we just can't. While we tend to be more logical, more structured.
That's very true. That's very
you get
true.
what I'm saying? So while I do agree with some of the points you said, in my perfect utopia, I would want it to be optional for my wife to work, and then for us together, obviously, to come to a solution where we would think would best suit our family, for sure.
No, of course. And listen, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with sharing responsibilities and stuff like that. At the end of the
100%.
day, your tradition could be yours. What I'm saying is that in the world we live in today, that's not how it is anymore, right?
Yeah,
For example, as a man, we have an energy called femininity, just like we have an energy called masculine. When those two things are integrated and they're healthy, you'll see my point. You'll see what I mean by my points of the non-traditional way. Now, that's not to take away what you have. Obviously, it doesn't mean that I'm right and you're wrong, but you will see it differently, right? For example, obviously for me, and that's maybe any man, you will want to support enough where your wife doesn't have to do anything. You just want her to, you know what I'm saying? But then there's also nothing wrong with your wife wanting to have her own and wanting 100%. To do her own things. You 100%. Get what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like, and it's also okay if you decide to take 2 years off and not do anything, and she wants to continue to do something, and there's no judgment in between. There's just support. See, the way we grew up, it was never like that.
No,
like are you crazy? No way. I mean, I live in the Dominican Republic, and it's very much still very that rigid here in DR.
Yeah.
Where it's
very traditional.
Like, tú ves que el machismo is like still up here in the Dominican Republic, still, right? Even when it comes to the gay community, it's still not liked out here. It's not respected at all. You get what I'm saying? But yeah. So let's move on.
I definitely one more thing. Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Unfortunately, the way that the economy is set up is just, I don't want to say it's impossible, but it's just hard for those old setups, like the ways that our parents grew up and our grandparents. It's just the way the economy is set up right now. It's nearly impossible to be able to set yourself up to have that traditional setup of the family. You get what I'm saying?
Right, for sure.
So it's definitely, for those that do want to have that option of being a little bit more traditional, it's definitely become harder for us to set ourselves up that way. And for me personally, I don't like that because I think the center of like having the family first in society, I think it's like pivotal for us to have such a, I guess, to not overcomplicate it, to have good society.
Yeah.
I think like it should be more family centered. Society should be more family centered.
Okay.
And the way that the economy is set up is just taking away from that. It's more about the individual. Individuality. It's about what I can do, what I want, and I feel like.
So let me piggyback on that, right? I'm entregado when it comes to family,
Right.
but I also cannot lose myself in those roles as well, right? Because at the end of the day, you do need to understand you are an individual. Now, I'm not saying root for individuality. That's how it should be. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, what I'm saying is don't lose yourself in the roles you play, because you can
I
get
got
lost. You can get lost, and then your whole identity becomes that. I'm telling you from experience.
Yep. No, I agree with you 100%.
Then you get lost in that, and then that becomes your whole identity, and then you don't know who you are if you lose all of that.
Right. And I've seen it. I've definitely seen it. I don't know if you've noticed a lot. I've seen it a lot in our culture, in our communities, where after a mother becomes a mother, they forget to be a wife.
Right. And then and then if you think about it, even with those two things, they also forget who they are outside
as an individual. Correct.
And there's nothing wrong with knowing those things and integrating every single one of them. I remember
100%.
the friend of mine saying, I will never forget, and I agree with her so much, right? And I understand it even more now when she said, I know that I'm a mother, and I know that I'm a wife, but I also know that I'm more than that. Like, I don't want to just be known for being a wife and a mother.
Right.
Like, I don't, right? And I respect that, because at the end of the day, you are entitled to know who you are outside of being a wife and being a mother. It shouldn't be the only thing you're recognized for. It shouldn't be the only thing that your memory will be about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So it's definitely a balancing act. Sorry, I don't mean to drag it, but it's definitely a balancing act. I think as we go through different phases of our life, the priorities change. But we also need to be able to balance, what we need to focus on certain phases of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
Because, when we're young, we don't have to worry about bills. You know what I'm saying? And then as we start going into adulthood, the way that we look at work and making money, but also start planning for the future. And for like retirement, as an example, that our mindset has to change in that too. And then once you have when you get married, then it becomes about the family, like your unit, like you and your wife. And then when you have children, then the priority kind of shifts towards the children. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And then as soon as your kids could go to college and they're out of your house, then it brings it back to something else. You know what I'm saying? So definitely I feel like every phase in our lives should definitely have a different focus, and the priority should shift as we grow up and we mature.
Right. But also también, and even in that, you got to be careful, because you also, when you start having kids, a lot of times it's happening when you forget about your significant other.
Yeah.
And you got to remember, your significant other, a lot of people may not agree with this, but your significant other is more important than your kids, because at some point your kids are going to grow up and leave.
I'm part of that group, bro. Unfortunately, not unfortunately, because some people get triggered by that idea.
No,
but it's like the marriage is first. You know what I'm saying?
It's if you think about it, right? You've gotten to a certain point with this person where you've built a life.
100%.
A kid, right? And I don't blame parents that this happens too. You just get so focused on the children that you forget about yourself, and then you forget about your partner. And then in between that, pasan un tro de vaina and this and that. But this is why you got to try to keep this is why you got to keep your who you are intact, and then who you're with intact, and then
100%.
what you have intact. Right. So nobody gets lost in the sauce. Everybody's still being recognized. Everybody's still being acknowledged. Everybody's still being catered to, etc. But that happens a lot, bro. Where you become the couples become I mean, shit. I see it now, bro. I can walk by an older couple, and I can tell right away, el hombre dominicano, super machismo, la mujer just looks sad. And not to say that the man is not sad, but it's like, esa mujer no ha hecho lo que a ella le da la gana. And now she feels like it's too late.
And
that happens.
That's that there. You got to have that balance. 100%. You got
to have that balance, bro. You got to have that balance, bro. And it comes with seeing things a little bit different than what you grew up seeing. It comes with seeing things a little bit different. All
Yeah,
right,
that's
so
fair.
let's get to your post and the reason why I hit you up and like, yo, Manny, like this is super dope, man. Like what you said is super cool. Like I'm interested to know a little bit more about that. Let's get on the podcast where you a guest and let's talk a little bit about that. So when did you first realize you were living between two worlds, since that's the name that you gave your video?
I mean, I can't say that it's now. It's definitely been constant. I don't think I've ever told you this, but when I was in third grade, I want to say, yeah, third grade. It was either third or first. I think it was first or third, one of the two. I ended up going to school because of my grandmother's health to school in Dominican Republic.
Okay.
And the day that I went to school, and I was like, people were like, "Oh, like, where do you live? You know, where do you come from?" And I was like, "New York. Like, I'm from New York." The way people reacted to that, I was like, bro, what are you doing here? What are you talking about? Yeah. Ain't no way someone from New York is coming to school down here. You know what I'm saying? So it really, really like put a magnifying glass in understanding that, and it's tough because I'm not Dominican enough to be Dominican in DR, but then I'm not American enough because of
because of your parents
100%
to be
American,
right? Because when you fill out paperwork now, you can't select. Well, the closest thing to you is Latin American. Is not even American.
Correct.
Right, because of your upbringings, right? Like if you were to be playing in sports, you can choose either Dominican Republic or USA, which doesn't necessarily make you American because you can choose.
Right.
I get that. My daughter actually goes to a private school here. It's American.
Yeah.
So they speak English, they teach English, but they also learn Spanish, how to speak Spanish. And the kids here, they love it. So she didn't have to deal with that. With
right.
Like you're from, well, we moved from Miami to DR, but still you're from America. You're from America. Like what the heck you doing here? She didn't experience. For her, it's like she's meeting kids from all over the world. There's kids from Italy here. There's kids from Russia. There's kids from Spain. There's kids from that have been adopted by Germans, but then when they were young, and then they come back over here and they go to school here. So she didn't get to experience that. But I can only imagine your experience when that happened, right? Because it, like you said, it made you question. Like I can't even be Dominican enough in my parents' own freaking country. Yep. But then it's like I can't even be American enough because of my parents as well. Yep. Yeah, bro, I understand.
That was so tough. It was so tough because it almost makes you feel like, well, where do I belong? You get what I'm saying? Like,
right.
It was just like,
and at that age, if you're asking yourself that, just imagine carrying that trauma as an adult, man.
Right. But the good thing out of that, if I want to like give it a positive, is that it forced me to really accept who I am and where I'm from, and just deal with it. You know what I'm saying? Like some people they're just not going to understand that, or they just won't get that perspective. That estoy aquí, pero mi mente está allá type of song. You get what I'm saying? So it definitely forced me, and I think I'm happy, and it got me to a place where I was okay with being grown up. Like I grew up in America. A lot of my tendencies are American. To this day, a lot of my expectations are very Western and American. But deep down inside, I also identify, with the roots, the natives, with the DR side of me.
Yeah. Okay.
And I did went off and got my dual citizenship. just
so you have it.
Yes,
I need to talk to you about that. We'll talk about that because I've been here almost 2 years and I still haven't done it.
Interesting. No, I definitely did it. I vote for in both elections.
Okay. Okay. So, how did your upbringings at home differ from what life started teaching you outside of it?
That's a tough one because it was so centered in religion and Christianity that growing up, I wanted to do a lot of the stuff that other people were doing, and I just wasn't able to. But as soon as I was of age that I could start doing a lot of things, and I don't want to say that I'm proud of it, but it forced me to want to taste, the other
Man,
side.
listen, there's no such thing as like I'm not proud of it, I regret it. Like, don't, because it all teaches you lessons in life anyways, regardless of what you do. Remember, you have free
100%.
will. You have free will.
100%.
You were given free will for a reason.
Yep.
And your reasons of wanting to taste the other side of the world, it came with intentions of wanting to know. Like,
100%.
there shouldn't be anything wrong with that. I just want to know, right?
Mm-hmm,
Let me ask you a question. Do you still follow those religious beliefs growing up that you grew up with?
Fundamentally, I still apply a lot of things that I grew up with. I'm not actively, like, I'm not an active Adventist today, but a lot of my foundational beliefs and a lot of the things that I practice the day to day, they're definitely rooted in religious teachings.
Okay.
But I definitely don't practice it in a way that's like overbearing or cult, like a cult type of way.
Yes.
Like I don't go.
It's being used nowadays. Like, that's
100%. So I unless you want me to speak to you about it, or if you want to understand my upbringing a little bit more, I'm happy to share it and talk about it. But I'm not one of those where I'm just like arrepiéntate. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not. I'm not gonna push it out there.
Yeah, I can tell you a story on that, man.
Bro, like you said, everyone has free will. We all have that option. And honestly, we're in a world where the resources are out there. If anybody wants to go into religion, it's not a hard thing to do today. Honestly,
it's not.
There's so many denominations, there's so many religions, there's so many different options out there. There's very traditional churches, there's very modern churches. Man, I don't know if you've ever heard the Dominican lady that she does like a mambo, like a Christian mambo.
Yeah.
Bro, back in our day, they would have stoned her, bro.
Yeah.
So
I forgot how the song goes, but I definitely heard it.
Yeah. It's the older lady. I forgot how it goes too. I can't remember her name from the top of my head right now. But the point is, what I'm trying to say is that the diversity is out there. If someone's like, the doors are open. If you want to go that way, or if you want to go an alternative way, which is funny because my brother, he is the complete opposite of me when it comes to spirituality and Christianity. Me and him, for us being like raised in the same atmosphere and conditions and parents, for him to come out the way that he came out and the way that I came out, I think it's something to be studied. But it also feeds into what you were saying about the free will. Nothing is and it shouldn't be. That's why I do, as much as people hate it, I'm a patriot. I love this country because we have the option to be able to practice the religion you want. As much as people want to act like this is the worst place in the world. We don't have Sharia law. We don't have other laws where we just have to follow a certain religion or
right. I understand.
So I'm definitely thankful for that.
I think it gets more complicated when you start to see the things that are done in the country. I don't think it's so much more like, for example, I don't agree with a lot of the ICE thing that was happening. That's just me. I don't agree with it. Now, obviously, it was intended to remove criminals, but they end up removing everyone. You get what I'm saying? It's a difference. And if you think about it, America was built off of immigrants. And it's crazy how immigrants are being the ones pushed out. Let me go a little bit deeper. Hear me out, chat. Right? Dominican Republic is considered part of the Americas, but we're immigrants.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The only difference between us and Puerto Rico is that Puerto Rico is governed by the U.S. So Donald Trump is the president of Puerto Rico, right? I believe also the president of Hawaii, right? DR, they're not the president of the Dominican Republic because we have our own presidential status here. But just imagine if we didn't. Like, it would be totally different. And let me tell you something. Here, the way things are going here, it ain't. Obviously, the cost of living is less than it is in the U.S. For us, there was a lot of political things we didn't agree with, which is why we moved. And we also were put in a position like, hey, why not? So we did it. You get what I'm saying? But here is very much turning into what you start to see when gentrification is starting to happen. And you're seeing it more and more. And the locals don't like it. So even yesterday, I had a conversation with this guy that I met at the beach from California, who's been living here for 6 years. And he says the problem is greed. The problem is greed. You got people coming over here building things and also meeting greeting Dominicans because they're not thinking about the locals. So they're building all these things and the locals are the ones being pushed out. Which it also happens in the US. When they're cleaning up streets, they built these buildings, rent goes up, the people that grew up there, the people that's been living there for 50, 60 years, gotta move out. Right? So it happens everywhere. But it's more and more now being here 2 years, and I'm starting to see like, man, this is not looking like when we first got here or what people made it seem. Like we're actually seeing the difference. We love it. We love it because it's our roots. We love it because we don't got to deal with the cold anymore. That's that cold that slaps you in the face. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I can very much so see how these things can affect anybody, anywhere, and everywhere. But again, you're entitled to your opinion on why you love America and what it stands for and all of that. For me, the only thing I did not like, and obviously, of course, it all depends on who's running the office for that, is the whole I just didn't agree with what was going on when it came to that. That's it. I mean, if you want to get rid of criminals, that's a different story. Why not clean up the streets? But don't just think of immigrants. Think of everybody that's a criminal, not just immigrants. You get what I'm saying? Think of everybody. But yeah, that's a
yeah, we could do a whole episode on
that's
the
another,
politics.
You can invite me to your
if you
podcast.
want, we could talk about that. Yeah, 100%.
All right, so let's talk about a little bit about survival versus living, right? So you said our parents taught us survival. What does survival look like in your household?
It was a day to day. It was just literally worrying about putting food on the table. I don't think, and I don't blame our parents for this. I think they did the best they could with the knowledge that they had.
Yep.
But for me, it was very short-ended, the vision. It wasn't really looking past that. It wasn't looking into the future and building something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I know that my dad, he tried the best that he could, but his mind wasn't in a place where he would think that far ahead. It was more about, how can I provide for today, take care of the bills today,
day to day.
100%. And I don't want to say that they did a disservice to us, but they kind of did. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that us first generation Americans tend to find ourselves in between the two worlds, which is why I called it that, the podcast, where we're having to sometimes, our parents are having to sometimes rely on us,
Yeah.
I'm one of the few that I could say that, my mom doesn't, at least financially, she doesn't depend off of me. But a lot of people in our generation, they're definitely finding themselves having to support our parents through retirement or, and it's tough. And it's tough. It's tough because for us to be able to build a foundation financially for ourselves in this economy, and then to take care of others, it's a hard feat for us. You know what I'm saying?
I agree 100%. My parents, they well off. My father retires this year. He's moving to the Dominican Republic. He has his money. He's good there. My mom as well. She makes her money. She's not retiring yet, but she's good as well. My mom never really asked me for help. My dad never really asked me for help. It's been the other way around, actually. Like, if I needed help, I'll ask them. You know what I'm saying? And then sometimes us, especially for us men, I remember making a podcast episode where, bro, I'm even crying on the episode and everything because I had to ask my father for help. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I battle so much as a man, as a Dominican man, is like, if I ask my father for help, this man is going to see me as a failure.
Interesting.
He's gonna see me as a failure. Like I'm. This was last year, so I'm 39. I wasn't 40 yet.
Yep.
I'm 39. I have kids. I'm married, and I'm asking my dad for money. Right? And it's like, bro, how can you be asking your father for money? Like, what is he gonna think about you? You're a failure. You're this. You're that. He raised you better than that. This and that. Those are the things that go in your mind as a man. And I'm pretty sure it most likely happens to women if they had to ask their mom, because that's how it usually happens. With my mom, I never think that. If I ask my mom for help, I never have to think about I'm a failure. None of that with my mom. But with my dad, man, I remember calling him FaceTime. And it was instantly, I choked up instantly. I'm looking at the man that raised me to be a man. To handle my shit, to be responsible. But here I am at the age of 39 asking him for help. And it was just $200. And here I am thinking all this crazy shit in my head. And I ask him and I tell him, and he just says, Mi hijo, yo soy tu papá. If I, in Spanish, he's telling me, if I got it, why not? You're my son. Not one moment he questioned me why. Or what's happening? Or why are you not taking care of this? What's going on with your job? What's going on? Not one time. And here I am creating all this BS in my head because of how I grew up. You know what I'm saying? Because we remember the image of our father, how he raised us.
Yeah.
But they do become a little softer when they become grandparents. Right? Man, what a relief, bro. What a relief. And I'm like, the same way I was crying on the phone talking to him, which was one of the hardest things I had to do. I was crying on the episode when I was recording it, bro. And it was like, to put it in perspective, even my wife heard it, and she heard the episode, and she can see as we're listening to it, I'm tearing listening to myself also, my recording, and she just comes to me and she tells me, I'm sorry if I ever been a part of making you feel pressured to do something. See, those are things that men don't like to talk about. You get what I'm saying? Not even with the person that they're with.
That's true.
When she did that, she doesn't understand how safe I felt. You know what I'm saying? Like, it changed the dynamic of everything.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, damn, I'm being seen. I'm being great. My everything that I do is not being taken for granted.
Yeah.
And it just came from just asking my father for help. And that changed everything for me, bro. Like, literally.
That's crazy. I mean, for me personally, it was very similar. I did ask my dad for help once. And it was to get my first car. I remember, but I remember that the reason I asked him to help me get that first car was because of an opportunity for a job, so that I could be able to commute to that job.
Okay,
it was a really good opportunity, and bro, it was the easiest thing ever. And I definitely was. I was afraid. I was definitely afraid to ask him.
It's tough. It's tough for us to ask our father.
Yeah.
You ask your mom, you don't even think about those things. It's mommy.
Right.
But your dad,
that's the thing. Luckily I've never asked my mom for anything like that.
But I'm pretty sure if you had to, you wouldn't feel the same.
It wouldn't be the same pressure. 100%.
It would not be the same. No, not at all.
And I mean, as a man, you never want to feel like you're disappointing or dishonoring. You know what I'm saying? Your parents. And until this day, man, I'm so happy because not only did he give it to me, but I made it exceptionally clear that it wasn't a gift. It was a loan. And bro, I paid him back. I paid him back 100%. Yeah. And I again, not to be, I like to look at the positive things of that. It just made me be that much more accountable when it came to my finances. It really helped me to be like, I shouldn't feel those type of pressures. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
But he did tell me, he's like, man, in the family is one thing, but for you to go out of the family to ask someone for money outside of the family,
they would prefer you do it inside.
100%. And I think that's a lesson he wanted to teach me. It was like, for you to to feel that embarrassment with somebody that's not your blood, just come to me, come to your family. You can always rely on your family, and then we'll sort it out. And obviously, like, just be more responsible and try to, move in a way that's a little bit more, where you're storing your money in a right way. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But man, is that tough to talk about, especially in our circles. And I think it definitely helps if you surround yourself, which I thank God every day. The amount of the friends that I have around me, bro, like they're gold, man. Like, I can't replace them, man.
That's
because they not only do we support each other, but we help align ourselves in a way where that circle, that inner circle, is not just my family, but those select few friends.
Mm-hmm.
Where I'm never gonna feel some type of way to come to them in a place of need.
You needed to. Right, you needed 100%.
To. And it doesn't even have to be just financial. It could be something else too, emotional, relationship,
for sure. Yeah,
whatever it may be. And it's very important because there's a lot of men out there that they like to be the lone wolf. You know what I'm saying? Me against the world,
and not only men, bro. I've learned that there's a lot of women out there too that like to process things on their own as well.
Yeah, 100%.
I can agree with that to an extent, bro. At some point, I feel like everybody needs someone, like, and I'm talking about like a living human contact that you can talk to, that you can express yourself to, that can hear you out, that can give you a different perspective that you might not see yourself, etc. But there are people like that, and there are men like that they rather just be alone, man. And I feel like I used to have this guard up for so long, and I've learned how to bring that down, obviously because of my wife. But even I had that same guard up that I had it with friends too. And it's like, and it wasn't that my friends didn't make me feel safe. It was just like, I felt like if I showed them that side, they'll see me different.
Or less than. Less,
right? And it's like, man, for a long time you battle that, but I don't give a fuck about that shit no more. Anyway,
and shout out to your wife for showing you, giving you that vulnerability and opening up.
For sure,
that space for you, man.
Because safe space, bro. It's
in marriage, that's key, man. That's key in a marriage, man. And I'm proud of you guys for that.
Thank you, man. Thank you. So, all right. So let's get into adult life lessons, right? So what's something nobody prepared you for adulthood?
For me, it comes down mostly to the financial aspect of it. Again, because we were living day to day, we were worried about, putting food on the table. For me, it was definitely the financial aspect of it. Luckily, I did my due diligence, and I've worked really hard to understand finances. And I, personally, I think I'm doing good, but for where I want to get to, I got a long way to go. So
in due time, man, in due time.
Right. I mean, look, for me, and I'll share with you, financial freedom is everything, because there's nothing like you buying excuse me, there's nothing like you buying your time back, man. For you to have the ability to be wherever you want, to go wherever you want, and to do whatever you want, there's no price tag to that. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. To just get up and leave, to just get up and buy, to just get up and do this. Yeah, for sure.
Right. And it's not that I glorify money. I definitely want to like put that out there. It's not that like money's like my God or anything like that. But I also understand that it's a very essential tool and a foundational tool, not only for my marriage, but also for my family and for the goals that I want to meet for myself.
For sure. I've learned in how I live my life now, like, money is just energy, it's a frequency, it's something that you can attract, right? It's easier said than done, but money in the world that we live in today gives us an opportunity to do things, right? Because I also don't see money like, como te digo, I've had money. I ran a business that for 2 years we did $500,000 2 years back to back.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So nosotros sabemos qué es tener dinero. The relationship you have with it is what you want to look at. right?
Correct.
Because
Correct.
remember, having money just shows you who you are more. And sometimes if you are in survival mode, if you have those wounds where you feel like you're going to lose money, you're just going to show more of that. So you become greedy if you think about it, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, and that's something my wife had to like, like,
Work through.
a lot of it, like layers, right? So I've always been somebody that if, when the money's there, I give it, I tip here, no importa. Because para mí, it's like, bro, it's just a piece of paper, you know? And I get it, right? I'm with you when wanting to be financial free, because who wouldn't want to wake up and leave to Italy? Like nothing.
100%.
You get what I'm
100%.
saying? Like I one of my goals in life is to take my wife to the Maldives, or
Maldives.
go to Thailand, right? She would love to go to Thailand.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and in the position we're in right now in this season, when I know that it's going to happen in the future, we'll be able to. No se puede. Pero
Yes.
I can see the point of having, because it gives you the opportunity to do, right? Just like giving back to the community. Like I told you, I see these little kids, man, I just want to buy sneakers, clothes, and give. Right?
100%.
That's part of my financial freedom right there. It's just
Yeah,
not what I
yeah.
can do for me and my family. It's what I can do for the community.
Others. Correct.
Right?
And it's the same for me, man. It's a tool. It is what it is. It's a tool. And nothing else. You know what I'm saying? And I just want to be a good steward of it. And you know, God willing, I get plenty of it so that I can, again, not to do things that are, you know, like to have a chain or get cars and anything.
Right.
It's more about legacy.
Right. I like those things. Like just the style of it, but it doesn't identify who I'll be.
Correct.
Right.
I think it's more important what you leave in this world for others and your family than showing it and wearing it. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. What do you think men struggle with that they don't openly talk about in today's world?
I think we've spoken a lot about it. I think we've spoken about, you know, being vulnerable in relationships, being vulnerable to other men, to your family, to your parents. Just communication as a whole, man. It's hard to just, for us, it's hard to us just open our mouth and say, to show any type of weakness or vulnerability.
Well, vulnerability, because vulnerability is not weakness. That's the thing that we've been taught.
Right. And I think that's one of the main things. And it's actually, if you really look into it, in my opinion, there's a lot of strength in being vulnerable. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, hell yeah.
Because how can, like, for instance, if I'm having financial struggles and I want advice from you, how can I get that from you if I don't open my mouth and be vulnerable? You know what I'm saying? So I think that's huge in when it comes to brotherhood. We need to learn to have that space, to have that vulnerability, and have those open discussions, and in a way that we're not going to judge each other, because that's another thing. Sometimes when you want to be vulnerable and you want to be serious about serious conversations like that, sometimes people take it for granted, or they want to like burlarse in a sense of you, like they want to make it as a joke or try to belittle you to a certain extent.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not beneficial, at least in a friendship or in a brotherhood. I don't see any benefit in that.
Right, I agree 100%. Vulnerability is definitely one of the biggest things for men to open up, to feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
You know, emotional maturity is another one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, self-awareness is another one. Being rooted in masculinity, looking a certain way, right? Because, see, a healthy masculine man is not the machismo. That's not a healthy masculine man. That is not, if anything, that's not even a man.
It's good that you say that.
That's a little boy whose ego has taken over, right? A man, a healthy masculine man who understands his integration also in his feminine energy,
Mm-hmm.
leads. protects, right? Nurtures as well.
Yeah.
Is open-minded, loves unconditionally, understands, is emotional intelligent, is self-aware, self-reflects. It's a lot of things that a lot of these men don't have, but they say they're men because they make money, or because they drive the nice car, or because they're brolic and they're machismo and right? Nah, I don't respect that. I don't respect it to an extent, because at the end of the day, those type of men are the ones that make fun of the men that are trying to be vulnerable, the men who are having mental health issues, the men who are, you get what I'm saying, in society overlooks that. They don't take it serious when a man is going through things. They don't take it serious. They don't.
Right.
And I love the fact that I use the platforms that I use to talk about those things, right? I have a man's group where we connect every single Thursday night just to talk, hang out, right? I teach certain things. I have 5 pillars that I teach, right? Which is something that I just revamped, right? With the things that I post about my clarity sessions for 30 minutes. And then from there, we see what else you need. It's called the aligned way. It's the first time I'm actually mentioning it. It's called the aligned way. So I have 5 pillars on teaching men what it is to integrate your feminine energy, what it is to integrate your masculine energy, what it is to be balanced, what it is to be whole, what it is to be emotionally mature, what it is to be, you get what I'm saying? So it starts with us making these changes so that the next generation, like my son, can continue that legacy on and can see that men don't have to be the way his grandfather raised me or his great grandfather raised him, right? Because at the end of the day, and it's not blame, because our parents gave us the best that they knew. At the end of the day, we have the choice to make those changes because we are more exposed to what we're exposed to nowadays, right? So, yeah, man.
It's and to piggyback off of that, personally, I think that, and I know a lot of, at least your machista man is going to get triggered by this. I honestly think we're on this world to serve our families. You know what I'm saying? Like everything we do tends to revolve serving our wives and our and our children. You know what I'm saying? And society when it comes to our work most of the time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So if you really look into it, like it's not about you being, like you said, pounding your chest. You know what I'm saying? It's really more about serving others. And I know a lot of people probably in the comment section are gonna be like, "Hey, what you talking about, man? That's not what a leader does." And it's actually the opposite. A leader's there to serve.
Here's what's crazy. Want to hear something crazy? The feminine is the leader. It's not the masculine. When you have learned to integrate your feminine energy, meaning you've healed, right? That is what allows you to lead as a man. It's not the masculine side of things. It's the feminine. Look it up. You'll see. And if you think about it, women have that naturally already to be leaders, to be nurturers, right? You can go back in history, bro. These are the things that they erased. They don't want us to know. Back in the days, bro, eran las mujeres que hacían todo, no eran los hombres. That got changed around. That got switched up. Women were the ones who ruled. Women were the ones who... Now, I'm not saying it in a sense like the man ain't shit. That's not what I mean. But if you think about it, why not have someone that naturally nurtures and cares, right? Have that emotional feeling, be the ones that rule the world. If we go throughout history, it's been men leading. Look at all the shit we've gone through. Think about that for a second, right? It's not just men, it's wounded men using their powers in a way where it's not making things any better as a whole, is what I'm trying to get at, right? So I've learned a lot of things when it comes to energies, man. And women are natural born leaders. Men are natural born leaders because they think that machismos are the leaders. It's the opposite, bro. When you can have a healthy feminine energy in your life as a man, you lead different. You don't lead from ego. You lead from the heart. Like literally, you lead from the heart. Everything looks different. You open your heart, you open your mind, you open your eyes. Everything is completely different.
That's an interesting take for sure. I mean, I could definitely understand it from the sense of like I always, at least personally, lead with love. But the way that we're wired for sure is a little bit different.
Where do you think that comes from? It ain't from your masculine side, bro.
Right,
leading with love is not from your masculine side. That is your feminine. That's your femininity. That's your feminine energy. Leading with love is your feminine side.
Right.
It ain't your masculine.
But the way that we come to decisions or process things, I think it's definitely a little bit more logical.
Oh, for sure. But that's what it is. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, for sure.
But definitely, I see what I get what you're coming from with the feminine for sure. Because if you do it with hate, there's nothing that's good that's going to come out of that.
When anything that you do with ego, it's not going to serve anybody in the greatest way. It's never going to. And majority of the time, the men that are in power right now have all wounded masculine energies. None of them have integrated their feminine energy, and it's why they lead with ego. There's always an agenda behind what's being done, right? Anyway, let's change the topic because
we could go on that one too.
Yeah. So okay. So let's talk a little bit about family, future, and legacy, and we'll wrap up after this. Yeah. What do you want to be different for your children or the next generation?
I definitely, and that's why I was mentioning the financial freedom aspect of it. I don't want that to be a point of contention in the future for my family.
Okay.
So I think I want the conversations to be definitely different about how we want to carry our lives. And again, it's not to like glorify money or anything like that. It's more about leaving a legacy or set my family up to where they just won't have to worry about those things.
Right.
And that they'll have the options to explore and to look into other avenues that they want to go into as a passion rather out of, remember how we were talking about that survival aspect of it? Right. I want it to be more about passion and what they want to leave going forward for their family and their children, for sure.
So for me, has always been that. Like I said, yo me entregado to family. And with the epiphany that I've recently had, it's changed. Like, obviously, of course, financial freedom for sure. But one of the things that I am most proud of on how we've raised our children is leading with support. We're not here to control our kids like we were controlled growing up.
Yeah.
But for me, is the role model. My kids seeing me as Raul, not the good father, not the good husband, not the good person that built the business, not a good person that brought us money, not the good person that left us a legacy. But they saw who I am outside of those roles, and that's who they respect, right? I want my children and the next generation to see that type of man that knows who he's always been, not being identified by what he's provided or the roles he played in life. I literally wrote that down on my journal today. It was like an aha moment. And of course, obviously, you have the external things like the you want financial freedom, you want to leave a legacy. Yeah, all of that is great. But I really want my kids to grow up and be like, my father, like, I know who he was and he knew who he was.
I agree.
Not the things he did for us.
Yeah.
Not the dad role. Not the way how he treated my mom. No. Like, I knew who my father was. I knew who Raul was. I knew who he was and what he left us and what we're taking from that. That's what I want to leave my kids with. And
I love that.
Next generation.
I love that because it comes back to what you had mentioned earlier about how we need to focus on ourselves. Like self-development is so important, and mental health and all of that things. Like, to understand the purpose of why you're doing things is so essential. Into you not only building what you want to build, but 100%. Also what you're going to leave behind, and the memories that people are going to have of yourself. So definitely being a person of good character
Mm-hmm.
is huge. It's huge in there, because if you don't have those fundamental things, there's no business in you getting married. There's no business in you starting a family
I
if you're not
agree.
going to be a person of good morals and good character.
I agree. I agree. Honesty for sure, también. What values from your upbringings do you absolutely want to keep?
I mean, as much as I you know, crapped on the parade of my mom of my mom raising me in church, man, it stuck. It stuck with me. For me personally, and obviously this is not for everyone. You know, God being the center of my life, and then me being the best person that I can be, for my family through that is essential for me. And it's different too, because my dad, you know, although he did the best that he could, his life wasn't rooted that way. His foundation wasn't that way.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's definitely different. And it's crazy, because if you talk to my brother, he'll probably have a different answer, which is why I think we should be studied at this point. But for me, definitely, I want that to be the center, and that's something very different in the way that I've lived my life,
Mm-hmm.
and the outcomes that also have come out of my life.
Yeah. I don't really have like something I'll keep, because at the end of the day, I feel like our lives have already been written. We're just living them out, right? And
That's interesting.
I feel like everything in life that we have endured, or the things we faced, has led us to be where we are today. Think about it today, June 17th, right? Having this conversation.
Yeah.
Everything that has passed has brought us to this moment. So for me, I don't have something that I initially think I will keep from my upbringings. It's more of the understanding that everything is a lesson in life to lead you to what you're up to, and you make the best that you can out of that, right? I feel like intentions is very key, because you can do something that you feel is good for you, but intentionally you might be hurting somebody else, right? Or vice versa. You can do something that you feel in the moment. It's like, I meant to protect this, but your intentions were good about it. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you didn't really want to harm. Like, for example, keeping a secret. You felt like you've done it to protect what you have. So intentionally, you don't want to hurt anybody. Intentionally, you're thinking about what you have and you want to protect. Right? At some point, it has to come out. But you get what I'm saying.
Right.
So
Yeah.
intention is very important. And I think that's something that I would rather, let's say, if I have to keep something, is that intention in everything that I've done in my life, because it never came from a malicious place. It always came from a place of love. It always came from a place of good, even if the outcome looked different in somebody else's eyes. Right? So
100%.
Yeah.
It's definitely important to keep the memories, not only of our, whether it be our ancestors, our grandparents, parents, even for us as we grew up. It's always good to remember where we came from,
Of
the
course.
struggles we went through, and really like putting that into perspective into our families, so that they don't take things into
Right.
for granted.
Como te digo, all those things that have happened has led us, even from our ancestor, has led us to be where we are today.
100%.
This is how we honor. This is
Yeah.
how we honor our ancestors, right?
Yep.
We honor our ancestors by making generational changes, not keeping them.
Yep. We want to break the
We
toxic
break
cycles.
Yes, right? Now, obviously, they will want the same things. They don't want us to carry that shit over, but that's how we honor them. We don't forget where they come from. We don't forget the things that they had to endure, but we had the opportunity to change that going forward. Right?
Yeah.
So that's how we honor.
I love that.
So, okay. So on my episodes, I usually have a listener's question, right? Based on what we're talking. And I ask a question to the listeners for them to answer honestly. Some people send me the answers on Instagram, or they leave it on a comment or whatever. They email it. So the question for the listeners, right? What is one lesson you inherited from your parents that still serves you today? And what is one belief or pattern you had to unlearn in order to become who you are today? So that's the listeners' questions for you guys. I don't know if Manny wants to share one more thing before I close it out. Manny, if you want to share one more thing, the floor is yours before I close it out.
I mean, if I had to answer that question, and I hate to keep coming back to it, but you know, it is what it is. My dad always taught me to always have something in my pocket. So, and I don't know what it was about that one day that he pulled me aside and he showed me his wallet and he's like, "Look, yo siempre tengo algo arriba." It's stuck with me forever. I don't know why.
That's funny.
And for some reason, it's ingrained in me to never be broke, man. Like,
okay.
It is what it is. And I know I keep coming back to the financial side of it, but I guess that's why I am who I am, man. Like,
right.
But so, and one of the patterns is the not living the day to day, man. I broke that real quick, man.
Kudos to you for that, man. Kudos to you. Okay, so before closing out, Manny, I just want to say, my brother, thank you so much for accepting to be a part of this, man. I really feel that this was a conversation needed for the world to hear. I want to congratulate you on everything you have going on with your new podcast and all of that. And much success to you, to the wife. You know, you guys are, dear to me. Even if we don't see each other, haven't seen each other, don't talk to each other often, that is just genuine love, unconditional love that I have for people. So I'll
be down there in December. Don't worry.
So hit me up, man.
I'll hit you up.
So thank you again, and yeah, man, we'll stay in touch as always, and I will close it out with thank you for tuning with us today, and remember, come for the truth, stay for the brotherhood. I finally made it this far and I'm not looking back.